Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for February 11th, 2013. It's currently 9 a.m. And as you can see here, we have much warmer temperatures along the coast than over the interior. And I think you can see where the heaviest snow has fallen, as temperatures are still in the mid to upper 20s over portions of central and northeastern Connecticut, while temperatures are rising rapidly into the lower to mid 30s along the Connecticut coast and back towards northeastern Pennsylvania. And along the immediate coast, we're rising into the upper 30s to lower 40s as a warm front lifts north. Now, we do have some ice here lingering over portions of northeastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, the Hudson River Valley, and of course Connecticut. The good news is that these temperatures have been steadily rising. Earlier this morning, around 5 a.m., these temperatures were in the 20s. Now we're rising into the lower to mid 30s, and this will end the threat for ice for the entire region. Portions of northeastern Connecticut are still going to be dealing with some freezing rain here beyond 10 a.m., unfortunately, as these temperatures are going to be struggling to rise. But the good news is that the precipitation is rapidly lifting to the north and east and will be ending shortly, likely by around 1 o'clock at the latest. Taking a look at the latest radar, you can see all of our steady heavy rain starting to lift north and east. Is starting to exit eastern Pennsylvania. It will pretty much leave the Philadelphia metro by around 11 a.m. at the latest, the New York City metropolitan area by around noon, and eastern Long Island and eastern Connecticut by around 1 p.m. It's steadily moving east as the warm air advection or warm air transport rapidly lifts north and east through the region. Now, for most locations, we're just dealing with rain. Now, with this rain combined with melting snow, you're going to be dealing with some moderate to major ponding on the roadways and some localized flash flooding, especially in some areas where you get that ponding and the drainage isn't as good, and you're dealing with some water in your basement. You might want to keep an eye on that moving forward. Thereafter, we do have a few scattered showers, but really not much in the way of steady rainfall once this lifts north and east by 1 p.m. Taking a look at the latest infrared satellite picture that we had up. Yep, here we are. Okay, so here's the latest satellite picture, and you can see we have a stationary front right along the coast. Now, what's going to happen is that this is going to all collapse as the cold air collapses. So basically, our warm front jumps from this to basically that. All right, it basically does this jump really rapidly this morning. So for the most part, this warm front lifts north and east. The reason why you're seeing this bow shape in the cloud pattern and in the precipitation pattern is that this is the difference between what's happening at the mid-levels as opposed to the surface. The mid-levels, this warm front is just traversing right along to the northeast. Nothing's really stopping it. It's just a nice warm weather pattern building into the mid-levels. However, at the surface, where we have snow and we have some cold air damming, we still have this warm front slow to progress to the north, and that's why you see this type of cloud pattern with the warm front as such. The cold front will follow tonight with a few isolated showers. I think for the most part, all the moisture is going to be regulated down towards the south here, towards our subtropical jet stream, as our primary low pressure system in the Great Lakes lifts north and east into the St. Lawrence River Valley and into portions of Quebec, setting up the potential for another interesting storm, possibly Wednesday night into Thursday. Taking a look at the water vapor satellite picture, I'm kind of zooming out throughout all North America, kind of set the pattern in place here. Here we have our upper level low that is lifting north and east towards the Canadian Maritimes. Now, as this upper level low sets up over the Canadian Maritimes over the next 48 hours, it will produce a weak blocking pattern, a weak negative NAO pattern over the northern Atlantic, and slow down the pattern just enough for us to keep an eye on this disturbance right here. Now, there's a question of just how intact this disturbance is going to be, and therefore just how far north this disturbance is going to get. Many models are now suggesting there's going to be potential for some snow and a little mix of rain along the coast on Wednesday night into Thursday morning. I'm very suspicious of this disturbance because I think that it's going to have to be pretty strong to not get sheared apart as it's traversing to the east. I'm keeping snow in the forecast, but I'm holding back on snow accumulation forecast until I get a little bit better data tonight on just how strong this disturbance really is, and how strong this disturbance that's diving to the south really is. That could basically tear apart the subtropical disturbance. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Also, way up here in the Arctic. You see this right up here, this disturbance up here, and this disturbance here, and then you have this disturbance down here. These three disturbances are going to have to be watched very carefully for this weekend, as there as a potential. There's a threat that what you could end up with is what's called a triple phase. Now, this has to work out just right to lead to a powerful storm, okay? So that's why I'm not really pushing the advertisement of this storm as some are. If one aspect of this whole triple phase is off, then you get no storm. It's just not a big deal. If it comes together just right, it's a major winter storm and one that will impact a lot of people. I think everyone would end up with snow with that type of setup. But we're going to have to watch to see exactly how it evolves. So there's a lot to keep an eye on over the next couple of days. Now here we are with the GFS model guidance from the Penn State EWOL website, an excellent website for your model needs. I usually don't like the GFS model guidance because the handling of disturbances doesn't always work out so well, but I'm going to use it this morning just to illustrate some points. First of all, here we are for this afternoon. The rain's exiting off to the north and east. Warm air is invading. Our temperatures warm up nicely this afternoon into the 40s, possibly even a few lower 50s over portions of southern New Jersey and the Philadelphia metro. Tonight, we have clearing skies. Our cold front blows through. Our temperatures fall back to near normal, and we end up in the upper 30s to mid 40s for tomorrow afternoon for highs. For the most part, we're going to only have to watch out for the threat of a little bit of fog because of the melting snow, and also a little bit of black ice because our temperatures are going to fall back to around freezing tomorrow morning. So that's pretty much the only threats for this evening on through tomorrow. Now, here's our disturbance marching to the east. Now, the idea here is that this disturbance is going to stay intact, stay relatively strong, and able to lift just enough north to bring snow into the northern mid-Atlantic. I think this is overdone here, and I'm not buying the GFS model guidance here, QPF output at this time, producing almost a foot of snow in the Philadelphia metropolitan area. Now, the reason why it does that is because the thermal gradient here, it's very, very packed and at least a very strong what's called frontogenesis. Is it possible? Yes, but I don't want to jump the gun yet because this has to set up just right and form a negatively tilted trough just at the right time to produce this outcome. And one thing that kind of sticks out to me as a real sore thumb is this disturbance right here that theoretically should kick this right out into the Atlantic very quickly. So I think we're dealing with a fast-moving low-pressure system. It could produce a period of heavy snow, but again, I want to hold off on the snowfall totals here and go into that analysis for another 24 hours until we really get an idea of just how fast this disturbance is and just how much time this disturbance has before it gets kicked out into the Atlantic. Also, I kind of have a doubt here about just how strong this disturbance is with a negatively tilted trough and all this lifting setting up. This, if you just take this verbatim, is a major winter storm for the Philadelphia metro and a moderate snowfall for the New York City metro. So again, we're going to have to keep an eye on it. Notice that right along the southern New Jersey coast, we're dealing with rain and snow, probably changing over to rain with warm air invading the coast. So it's going to be a very tricky forecast and something that we're going to have to keep an eye on and move forward with. So that storm rapidly exits out by Thursday afternoon, drying conditions. Thursday night, perfectly fine out, beautiful, with temperatures pretty much near normal in the mid-30s to lower 40s for highs throughout the entire region. Now, as we head in towards this weekend, let me set up this potential phase here. Now, let's step back here, back to 120 hours. This is Friday night. 1, 2, 3. Okay? 1, 2, 3. There's our three disturbances that could interact. Moving forward, they come down. 1 and 2 phase, and here comes the Arctic disturbance right behind it that slows everything down. If they all come together just right, this storm is closer to the coast, and you end up with a pretty impressive snowfall for much of the northern mid-Atlantic back up towards Boston. If they're off by just a little bit, like the operational guidance is showing right now, then you get no storm because this exits out, there's nothing to hold it back, and it becomes nothing more than a few passing snow showers and not much of a big deal. If it phases just right, then this gets pulled back. You end up with a very deep, powerful upper level low around the mid-Atlantic, and a very heavy snowfall would unfold. So we're going to see exactly how this sets up and how it evolves. But the potential is certainly there for a significant storm. So we're going to keep an eye on that and watch that, because if it does transpire, it will definitely impact much of the northern Mid-Atlantic with a impressive snowfall. So that is the forecast for today. I do want to let all of you know that I am working on a video slash typed up discussion about the previous storm we had, what went right, what went wrong. I'm holding back on it just because I'm waiting on some graphics and working on some details here to explain the forecast and what went right and what went wrong. So bear with me. I should have it out in the next day or so. That is your forecast, of course, for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a great day. Stay safe out there.